Lily? I saw Lily on here. Lily, you're here. Owen?
Here.
Paige? Lexi? Corbin? Zeta?
Here.
Tamayo? Tara? Lily's iPad died. Okay. See if she can log in on her phone or something. Wyatt? Serenity? Angelina? Hayden?
Here.
Cohen? Leland? Mateo? And Dakota. See if we get a couple more people on here for Kahoot. That'll work. What should my following distance be? 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 7 seconds, or 4 seconds? 4 seconds. Nicely done. True or false? Covering the brake means to apply pressure on the brake pedal. Early back in. It is false. You all good, Lily? Looks like you're back. All right. True or false? When passing a parked car on the side of the road, you want to move towards the left side of the lane if possible. True. Nice job. It was super quick. Good job, Gibbs. In this picture, which lane would you turn into? 1, 2, 3, or can't turn from this lane? Red car turning left. Lane 2. So like lanes, if you're 2 from the middle, you're going to turn into the second one from the middle as well. When must you turn on your headlights? 45 minutes after sunrise and 45 minutes before sunset, 30 minutes after sunrise, 30 minutes before sunset. When the street lights come on, only on country roads. Good job. 30 minutes before and after. High beams must be turned off when the car in front of you is how far away? They're traveling the same direction you are. 100 feet, 1,000 feet, 300 feet when you can see them. 300 feet. So if they're traveling the same direction, they need to be 300 feet in front of you. High beams have to be turned off within how many feet of an oncoming car? So now they're coming towards you. 0 feet, leave them on to see better. 100 feet, 500 feet, or don't use your high beams.
We should put 1 million.
500 feet. So if they're coming towards you within 500 feet, you got to turn your high beams off. True or false? When passing a vehicle, it is legal to go over the speed limit. It's a tricky picture though, because you shouldn't be passing if you're on the right side over here. Got one is true. So if you're passing somebody, you can go up to 10 miles an hour over until you pass them. True or false? You should brake check a tailgater to let them know they are too close. That is false. You don't want to brake check people that are tailgating you. Just going to create more of an issue. If someone is tailgating me, I should hit the brakes multiple times to flash my brake lights, turn on my hazards, tell them to back off, move over a lane and let them by, or brake check them. Move over a lane, let them by. Good job. Is a tractor legally allowed to be on the road? So like this picture. Yes, with orange triangles. No, they need to stay off the road. They are slower. Is the guy in this picture legal? Yes, as long as they have the orange triangles, they are allowed to. But you gotta be careful because they're gonna be going way slow now. If a country road has a random street light, it most likely means this is where animals will cross. There's an intersection, reminder to use your headlights, or speed limit will decrease. Most likely there's an intersection. It's not always going to be the case, but more often than not. Passing parked cars on the right, one has his wheels turned out and taillights are on. You should drive like normal since you have the right of way. Stop and let them get into the lane. Cover the brake and be ready for them to move out, or get closer to them and flash your lights. Cover the brake and be ready for them to move out. Good job. If you see a car that looks like they're getting ready to come out, just be ready. Sure, a lot of you guys have realized cars don't do what they're supposed to all the time. Country roads make up how much of our our nation's roadways? 52%, 48%, 61, or 22.
Let me see, right?
Well, it's supposed to be of our
It's
nation's
supposed to be, yeah.
61%.
I thought it was 80.
Country roads make up 61%.
I thought that was the amount that the nation's traffic fatalities.
No, that's just how much the country has of those roads. After completing a pass, when do you move back over into the correct lane? When you just start to see them in your mirror, when you can see both of their left tires in your mirror, when you can see their mirror in your mirror, when you see both of their headlights in your mirror. This is talking about your center mirror inside the vehicle. When you pass somebody, you want to be able to see both of their headlights in your mirror. That's how you know when they are far enough away that you can get back over. Is this a passing zone? Yes or no? Assume you're on the right side traveling the right direction. There you go. Had the dash lines on there, so it is legal to pass there. Last one. When being passed, is it legal to speed up? No, it's your lane and they decide to make the pass. Yes, I need to let them get by, or no, I want to see whose car is faster. Are you allowed to speed up? So yes, need to let them get by. Good job. Mm. 17 out of 17. Ooh, honeybee, good job. All right, let's get today's out there. There we go. So we're gonna talk about going on the highway today, driving on the freeways and highways. Um, I don't think we've only done one drive on the freeway with one of you guys so far. So this will be good to know before you get to your freeway drive. Gonna give you lots of information on how to do it. So highways and interstates, some are bigger, some are smaller. They're just they're all a little bit different. Don't be afraid to get on the freeway. It is going faster, but it is a process to get up to it. The more you drive, the more comfortable you get. And because you are going faster, they're not going to make any of the turns super sharp, so you can take them at the speed limit. But just remember, like, I've been on the freeway with a lot of inexperienced drivers, and I'm still alive, so don't worry. You'll do fine. Three classifications of a highway. So you have the interstate highway system, which is going to be this sign here. We have I-5 around here. The US highway system has this shield, and then whatever the highway number is going to be, and then our state has George Washington on it, with whatever the highway is. So you got interstate, US highway, and the state highway system. The US highway is the first network to connect the states, before they came along with the big interstates. Now it's the interstates. But each state's going to have their own shield logo, whatever it is, with the number. You'll see that coming up here in a little bit. So the interstate highway system, so like we have I-5 here, like I said. Interstates have controlled access. What that means is that it has an on-ramp to get up to speed. So it allowed the access to get onto it is controlled, so you can get to speed and not be in anybody's way, just not have any crashes or anything like that, because they are going faster. It does have an interchange, which interchanges are basically going to take you from one highway to the next. Just pay attention to the signs and the lanes that you want to be in as they're coming up. It'll give you lots of notice, and you'll be able to go from like I-5 to 101, and that's what an interstate is. You got grade elevation, which is kind of like the picture here. Some on and off ramps are going to go over the freeway, some will go under. It's going to be a little bit different everywhere, but that's going to be the grade elevation. You have expressways. It's a highway designed for fast traffic with controlled entrance and exit. There's a dividing strip between the traffic in opposite directions, typically 2 or more lanes in each direction. The only one that I know of around here is up in Seattle. It's basically takes you from one point to another without having all the exits and on-ramps. So it goes for a while. So if you're going past them and you don't intend on getting off the freeway, you can just keep going straight. There's less traffic because there's not people merging on. Turnpikes and parkways. So these will all have toll roads. A toll road is one that you have to pay for to be on. You'll see, or you've heard a lot of like toll bridges where you have to stop before you go, pay them however much it is, and then you go. Same with the roads. The only toll roads I know of around here well, I guess it's not around here, but it's up Tacoma, Seattle, that area. And they may or may not have controlled access. So highway is a general term for a public road. It'll be numbered on the map. Freeways are controlled access, multi-lane highways without tolls. A turnpike is the same thing, except for they have tolls. So it's going to be controlled access, getting on and off, multiple lanes, but it's going to be a toll where you have to pay. A causeway, it's a highway that crosses a body of water that's near that level. Looks like this here. Going like to Astoria, there's some there, but this is one that you just gotta be careful, because if you make a mistake, you could be in the ocean. Like I said, it's just gonna go, a causeway is just something that goes over a body of water. The US highway system. So it was created in the 40s and 50s. It was created over in the East Coast, and it was just to move things quickly, like goods and supplies, food, clothing, things like that. But it was created a long time ago in the 40s and 50s. It was the first highway network that connected states. Now we have interstates that do it as well. There's no controlled access on highways. Not all highways have them. Some do, but it is not all of them that have it. There will also be possible traffic control devices like a stop sign or stoplight. I don't know if you guys have ever been driving on any, but you can go down towards the end of them, and a lot of times you'll get a stoplight, and it just goes right into a town. So that is the U.S. highway system. If you look at all the states here, this is what each one of the states look like. Like I said, ours here has the George Washington on it. They're all going to be a little bit different. Every state has their own. Most of the time, they're going to be 2-lane roads where one lane going one direction, one lane going the other. So it's not 2 lanes in the same direction. They may have controlled access. They may not. We'll go over that in a few slides. We'll go over like an example of one that does not. Some highways, some people live right off the highway, so their driveway goes right to it. And if that's, if you're going to a friend's house and they live there or something like that, and you come out, it is one of those that you have to make sure you get up to speed pretty quickly because they're going to be going 60 miles an hour on that highway. Washington State highway system includes ferries and beaches. What else we got? Just remember that the odd numbers are going north and south. If it ends in an even number, it's going to go east and west. But they're mostly just 2-lane roads. So this is where it shows the toll roads in Washington. Like I said, they're all Tacoma. You got the Narrows Bridge, Auburn, Renton. I don't think there's any around here that I know of, but it can include bridges, tunnels, HOV lane. So an HOV is a high occupancy vehicle, like a carpool lane. Do you guys know what that is? What a carpool lane is, or what is carpooling?
Isn't it like the far inner lane with like the diamond in that?
Yep. Do you know what you have to be able to legally drive in there?
More than one person in the car.
Yep. So there are a few areas I've been to in California where you have to have 3+ people, and it tells you. Everywhere I've seen around here, if you have 2 people, you can be in that lane. And the HOV lanes are, like you said, usually it's the far left lane, and it does travel a little bit faster. And there's usually less traffic because you're far away from where the lanes merge, and so it doesn't impact that lane nearly as much. But then you also got like the toll road, so you do have to pay. In Washington here, we have what's called a good to go pass that you can get, and it's just a sticker you put on the inside of your windshield. And when you're in that lane, it just scans it and it automatically takes money off of that account. You can have it linked to your bank account or you can put money into it. But then you're not stopping every time that you get onto a toll road. And then all those funds help for the construction of the roads, like the I-5. All the money from that is going to that. So freeway interchanges, here's some pretty complicated ones up here. But it's a way from getting from one freeway to another, right? Or to a highway. It's a way it's going to take you off of it, and then you're going to go right onto another. So this will show you about a diverging diamond change that they are testing here. I believe this is in Lacey that they started this one. At least they have one there. I don't know if it's this exact one. Yeah, so that's up in Lacey.
Welcome to the city of Lacey and the area known as Hawks Prairie. This vibrant business district is undergoing tremendous commercial growth. As a result, it is experiencing increased traffic volumes, especially around the I-5 Marvin Road interchange. To address the increased traffic volumes, the Washington State Department of Transportation is upgrading the existing Marvin Road interchange into a diverging diamond interchange, or DDI, the first of its kind in Washington State. This proven, innovative design will increase safety, improve traffic flow, and ease access to this thriving business district. The first U.S. DDI was constructed in Missouri in 2009. Since then, there have been over 60 more constructed throughout the United States.
Have any of you guys been up to
Safety,
Lacey and seen the one
efficiency,
up there?
and cost-effectiveness of the
Really
DDI
weird.
has made it a popular choice for upgrades to existing high-volume interchanges. Let's take a closer look at a DDI and how it works. In a traditional diamond interchange, traffic signals require 3 phases to manage the traffic movements, including a separate left turn phase. By contrast, in the DDI, through traffic and left turns happen at the same time, eliminating the need for a separate left turn phase. This creates shorter wait times and allows the interchange to handle higher traffic volumes more efficiently. In a DDI, safety is improved by reducing the number of potential conflict points within the interchange. A traditional diamond interchange has 26 potential conflict points where traffic either crosses, merges, or diverges. The DDI lowers the number of potential conflict points from 26 to 14, which has been shown to reduce collisions by 50% and minimize their severity as well. It also increases the driver's sense of comfort. Let's take a drive through the Marvin Road DDI. Driving through the DDI is very simple. The carefully designed approach angle of the intersections, along with clearly laid out striping, arrows, and signage, will safely guide motorists through the DDI. Signs will help you make lane choices. Large lane arrows provide direction. The barriers will help minimize distractions, and dash lane lines guide you through the intersections. Since the I-5 Marvin Road interchange is the primary access route to the bustling Hawks Prairie Business District, efficient traffic flow is of paramount importance. This DDI has been designed to work well with the nearby intersections along Marvin Road. For example, I-5 southbound traffic can proceed directly to Hogum Bay Road to the north via a dedicated right turn lane. Also, from the southbound I-5 on-ramp, there will be easy access to and from the planned retail, commercial, and residential areas near Cabela's. Updates to the corridor south of the DDI will enhance traffic flow from Quinault Drive along Marvin Road as well. The I-5 Marvin Road diverging diamond interchange is designed to provide better mobility for many different groups, including motorists, commercial vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists alike. While decreasing travel times and traffic congestion, this interchange will also provide a balanced solution that improves safety and keeps people moving, now and into the future. Thank you for watching.
All right. So why would this be better? Why are they implementing this? It kind of is complicated. It's not, but it's different. It is safer. So it's dropping, there's less conflict points, like she was saying. And all that's saying, what's that? Yeah, improves the flow. It's less spots for people to run into each other, really. It's going to protect pedestrians a little better. The traffic flow is going to be better. When you first go through it, if you guys ever do, it is weird because you're on the left side of the road instead of the right side. So you feel like you're not where you should be. And so it's just different. Like I said, it is less conflict points, so it is safer, but it's just different. So accessing and exiting a highway. What do you think the most important thing to do when you're getting onto the freeway is? Yep.
Make sure you smog and you don't want to.
Absolutely. So yeah, get up to speed and you smog. Those are both equally as important. Make sure you keep good following distance when you do get on the freeway. And yield the right of way to the people who are already on the freeway. Since you're getting into their lane, you're merging over, they have the right of way. And it is up to you to find the right spot to go in, pick a good gap and get in between there. So this is just a short video. It's going to show you, it's about merging on and off of the freeway.
Statistically, one of the safest places to travel is on the freeway. But getting on and off can be pretty dangerous. So today I'll share a few tips on how to safely merge and exit off of the freeway. I'm still scanning the intersection to make it clear of red light runners, and I'm entering my on-ramp. I can see there are 2 lanes, so I'm checking to my right. I don't see any cars coming in from the right merging in. Up ahead I am going to have to merge, so I'm going to get my signal on early, and I'm getting my speed up to 60 miles per hour, and I'm checking the gap in traffic early and often. So I see a gap behind me, I'm going to fit right in, and I'm on the freeway. Once I'm finally on the freeway, check my mirrors one more time and cancel my signal. Now that I'm on the freeway, I can increase my following distance from the car in front of me, make sure I've got a good 3 seconds at least of following distance. Turn, I can see that the ramp does have 2 lanes. The right lane is a carpool, which is going to merge in with me, so I'm checking to the right, nobody in the lane. And I do see the sign for an added lane up ahead, so I'm not going to have to merge. This makes it one of the easier kinds of on-ramps. So I still see the Gore area to my left. A lot of cars cross this. So So I'm looking ahead and I'm still checking traffic around me in my rear view and side view mirrors and over my shoulder because I want to see if anyone's going to try to sneak into my lane ahead of me or behind me. Right now it looks good, pretty clear. We've got a car coming in pretty fast from the right. It looks like they might want to take this exit. Add-on lanes are great, but they usually end up being exit-only lanes, so you have to get on the freeway and then decide if you want to stay at exit or possibly move over and make a lane change. An important thing to think about when you're exiting is to look really far ahead and spot where your exit's going to be. Is it a mile away? Is it half a mile? Because you have to make a lane change to get into the correct lane. So look to see if it's just a normal exit or potentially if it's an exit-only lane where you're forced to exit. A lot of times some people make last-minute decisions to get into or out of an exit-only lane. So keep your eyes open when you're exiting. Alright, here's my exit. I'm going to put my signal on, mirror over the shoulder. Make sure no one's coming around me. I'm going to keep my speed up. When I'm on the off-ramp, I can begin to slow down, check my rearview mirror, look for conflicts, cancel my signal once I'm established in the off-ramp. Anytime you're exiting, look really far ahead to see what happens at the end of the ramp. Is it a stoplight? Is it a yield sign? That sort of thing. So I'm going to take a right, signal mirror over the shoulder, and it looks like I'm going to have a yield sign to my right. So I need to be really careful coming off the freeway. You're used to high speeds, so sometimes you can get velocitation, which means you get comfortable going so fast that when you get on the slower speeds, you tend to speed because you don't realize how fast you're going. So watch out for that as you get off the freeway.
All right, so on that last time that he merged on, it showed a sign. We'll go through in a couple slides, but on that sign, it told him that instead of merging, it's an added lane. So that just means you have to get up to speed and you don't have to merge over right away. It does turn into an exit only and you end up merging at some point. When you guys go on your freeway drive with us here, we start the very first time you're going to have an added lane. So you don't have to merge right away. It's just getting you used to getting up to speed and just getting the feel for it, and then we'll merge over. And then we are going to get off the freeway a couple times and back on just to practice merging. But also, like he was saying, the other important things when you're getting off the freeway, don't slow down when you're on the freeway. Once you get to that off ramp and the whole car's on the off ramp, then you can start slowing down. If you slow down on the freeway, it's going to start causing traffic behind you from people who are not getting over and getting off at the same exit. Just make sure when you're getting on, you're going to smog. You're going to put your signal on early. You're going to keep your eye on the left mirror as you're getting over just to see where the gap is. You're going to look over your shoulder, and when it's clear, you're going to go. And then the other big tip for on the freeway is when you're checking your blind spot and you're going either way, keep your hands relaxed. If you're gripping the wheel real tight, when you look over, it's going to tend to jerk the wheel over a little bit and the whole car moves. So just make sure you turn just your head, relax your hands, and just find your gap. He talked about velocitation. What's it mean? He told you in there. What's velocitation? Yep. So we're going to be on the freeway here going 70 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, when we get off, the speed limit's going to be 25. You're going to feel like you're going super slow. Velocitation is where it's really easy to speed because you're used to going fast. So instead of going 25, you might be going 35 or 40. Not really realizing it until you look at your speedometer. But it's really easy to do. Just, you go on 70 miles an hour and then you drop to 25. That's a huge difference. You guys will see that when we go on the drive. So entering the freeway, you want to use this whole on-ramp right here. You're using this to get up to speed. So you don't want to be like this one here and get over right away. This guy's probably going to have to slow down. And remember, you are going into their lane. So they have the right of way. If he doesn't slow down for you, it's up to you to slow down to get behind him. You want to signal early. So about where this car is at, put your left signal on. Then you don't have to think about it when you're getting up here, and you can focus on just checking your mirror and over your shoulder. Look for the gap in between cars. If it was these two cars up here and they're down here, that's not enough room. You're going to have to slow down. Use the entire thing, though, to get up to speed. And that's probably the biggest tip I can give you is just you want to match the speed of the traffic. Because if you're going slower and you get in front of this guy, and he has to slow down for you, then, it's going to create traffic. So use the entire on-ramp and get up to speed. And then make sure you're just checking over your shoulder, check your mirror, make sure no one's going to be in this lane when you merge over. So signal to the ramp, accelerate to the speed of traffic, signal left, check your mirrors to the left and your blind spot to the left. You must yield the right of way to traffic already on the highway because you're going into their lane. Find the gap, looking in your mirror and over your shoulder. Enter the gap and stay at the speed limit or the flow of traffic as soon as you get over. So if the flow of traffic is going slower, you're not going to be able to go faster, go the speed limit. But you want to match. So if they're only going 50 because there's more traffic, you don't want to go 70 when you're getting on. You want to go 50. And then you want to just match their speed as you get over. That all make sense? Okay. So you guys are all going to do it on your freeway drive. So this is a highway. It's uncontrolled and it's a divided highway. So it's got a big median here in the middle. So these lanes are going this way. Those lanes are going that way. If you're a car over here, you can come up, you're going to stop. If you're turning to the right, you're going to go into the first lane. You're going to stay like lanes. And then just remember, these guys are going to be going 60 miles an hour. So they make sure there's a big enough gap to get into or no one's there. If you see someone coming, you're going to have to get up to speed pretty quick. If you want to turn left here, you can come up to the stop sign. When it's clear on both lanes, you're going to cross over and then you're going to stop again here in the middle. You don't want to go too far out because this has the turn lane for these people to turn left. So you want to stop in the middle, but not in that intersection. You're going to look to your right. What you do want to remember, though, if they're going this direction, the passing lane is the one on the left. So this first lane that you go into, which is where you want to go, so you want to go into like lanes, it's going to be the passing lane, and then you're going to want to merge over to the right lane. So you do have to make sure if you see anybody coming over here, they're probably going to be going a little faster than you expect them to. Just make sure it's completely clear when you do this. But you can, like I said, turn right here. You can go stop here again, clear traffic, and then go to the left. Also, people live off highways, so like this could be someone's driveway. Obviously, it's not, but someone can have a driveway that comes up here and it just goes right onto the highway. I've seen that happen. It's going out towards like Shelton and out there. That happens a lot. So just be aware, especially if you're getting onto it. So ramp meters, we do have these. It's going to help with the traffic congestion. Not everyone gets on at one time. It's only one. So this one here is going to have 2 lanes. If it's red, you have to stop. If it's green, 1 car can go per green. So it's going to have both vehicles on both lanes. One will be green, one will be red. When that vehicle goes, theirs will turn red, yours will turn green. It just alternates back and forth. It's just doing that just so not everyone gets on at the same time, and it helps with the traffic flow and just not getting as much traffic. This will be a short video showing you how they work. Maybe.
Ramp meters are traffic signals placed at freeway on-ramps, which regulate the traffic entering a freeway by optimizing the use of available gaps for vehicles to merge. In addition to the traffic signal, a typical ramp meter design includes detector loops that feed information to the ramp meter controller, monitor the level of traffic, and detect gaps in the traffic stream. Loops are also installed on the on-ramp to monitor on-ramp traffic. Finally, an end-of-queue loop is placed at the entrance of the on-ramp to prevent backups onto local streets by releasing the queue when the ramp fills to capacity. The metering rate varies and depends on a combination of the level of congestion on the freeway and the number of vehicles waiting on the ramp. So why meter traffic? Experience with ramp meters in the Bay Area and elsewhere in the country has shown safety, travel time, speed, throughput, and environmental benefits. Ramp metering smooths out the flow of traffic by balancing conflicting traffic demands. A smoother traffic flow is safer. With less merging and weaving traffic, collisions are reduced by up to 50%. Reduced congestion also improves air quality. And adjacent city streets benefit as well, because fewer drivers seek alternate routes.
That's how they work. Should make a little more sense now. We don't have a lot around here, but you'll see them like down Vancouver, Portland, Tumwater, Lacey, Olympia, those areas. They are pretty slick how they work, and they do work, and that's why they do it. But going back to merging traffic, so you have this sign here. This sign is telling you if you're on, this will be the freeway because it's a bigger arrow, that there's going to be a lane that's going to be merging into your lane. So if you see this and you're this car here, you might want to move over a lane as these guys get on. This is just one of those, you'll see the sign before you get to it, but it's just saying they are going to merge into your lane. So when you see the on-ramp, it's going to eventually go into your lane. Then you have this sign. This one here is just saying that this right lane is going to end and to merge to the left. So you can see here, like the lane ends and everyone kind of goes to the left. So if you see this sign on the freeway, that far right lane is going to end. They're going to move over. Depending on how many cars are there, you might want to get over and then come back. And then this sign is telling you that it's an added lane. They're not going to merge. So as soon as this car gets on, it's just going to keep going. It's going to be 3 lanes instead of 2. It's an added lane. And so, like I said, when you first go on the freeway with us, we're going to go on one of these. It is an added lane. It does turn into an exit only farther down the road. But when you first get on, you won't have to merge as well or as much. You're just going to get up to speed, get used to it. Then we'll move over and go from there. But if you ever see a sign like this, and it looks like 2 lanes and one's not going into the other, it is an added lane. You do not have to worry about them merging. So there is a law that it says you got to keep right except to pass. You'll see these signs also. We here in the United States are horrible at this. We have drivers that stay in this left lane. That's why they created the law. It's just one of those things that you want to stay to the right. The left lane is the passing lane. So if there's only 2 lanes here, everybody should be in this right lane. And then when you're going to pass a car, you get over and then you come back. That's how it's designed to work. It's not necessarily how it happens here. But it's not a fast lane. Everybody refers to it as a fast lane because cars go faster. The whole idea is it's passing. You're going faster as you pass, and then you get back over. You might have people here, and you'll see it all the time, that they're going slower than the speed limit, but they're in the passing lane, or they're matching the same speed as this car, so neither one's going faster, and people get upset. They start tailgating and just start going into a road rage. But don't be one of those people. If you're not actively passing a car, get over. Move to the right lane. So it is more dangerous for someone to be going 5 miles an hour under the speed limit in the passing lane. So that's like I'm saying over here, like this white car, if he's going 5 miles an hour under the speed limit, it is more dangerous. It's difficult for people to get around them. It's going to create traffic jams. So just kind of stay to the right.
A few months ago, I took a road trip from Chicago down to New Orleans, and on the way back up, we were somewhere either in Tennessee or Missouri. I got pulled over. It's my first time getting pulled over, and it wasn't for speeding. It was because I was driving in the left lane.
So there are basically 2 types of drivers in the world. There are people who get really upset about all the people driving slowly in the left lane.
That's Joey. He fits in the first group.
And then there are a lot of drivers who have no idea that this is even a problem.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry about that, I don't drive much. The truth is, when drivers hang out on the left lane, it makes traffic worse and more dangerous for everybody involved. Here's what that looks like.
If you have relatively slow drivers scattered amongst the right and left lanes, faster drivers have to repeatedly slow down and weave back and forth, changing lanes many times to pass all of them. So if you're going 5 miles slower than everyone else and you're traveling in the left lane, it forces them to make dangerous moves trying to pass you on the right, which is more likely to cause an accident.
But there's a better way for traffic to flow, and that's if we only use the left lane for passing.
If all the slower drivers are in the right lane, a faster driver can pass several at once, then get back over to the right, which cuts down on the total number of lane changes and eliminates the slowdowns.
Move over or get a ticket. That's the message from state troopers to people driving too slowly in the left lane.
Some people argue that as long as they're going the speed limit, they shouldn't have to move over. But there's evidence that slowing down and changing lanes is actually more dangerous than speeding. Research has shown that the strongest predictor of an accident is variance from the average speed of traffic. And a car going 5 miles per hour slower than the surrounding traffic has a greater chance of causing an accident than one going 5 miles per hour faster. That's why every state has some law on record that restricts the use of the left lane. In 29 states, any car that's moving slower than the surrounding speed of traffic should be in the right lane. And in 11 states, the laws are stricter. They say that the left lane is only for turning or passing.
Historically, police didn't really pay that much attention to slow left lane drivers, But more recently, there have been campaigns in places like Washington, Texas, and Ohio, where police are actually issuing tickets to people they spot traveling slowly in the left lane.
The reason why I stopped you is the law in the state of Washington is keep right except to pass.
This is something that has always been illegal and against the law here in Michigan, but now officers are rolling out this new education effort to help the public understand just what they can and they cannot do when it comes to this type of driving.
Now, it doesn't have to be this way.
A good example of this is the German Autobahn. So this is Germany's highway network, which has long stretches of road with no speed limits, and it has surprisingly low accident rates. One reason for this, some researchers think, is that German drivers are more likely to stay in the right lane for traveling and only use the left for passing.
That shared norm helps keep them safe. So, fellow drivers, I am sorry. I didn't know the rules, but I'm not alone. And if more people understand how this works, we will have much fewer traffic jams, and our roads will be a lot safer too.
Does that all make sense? So it is going to be less traffic, less issues, people not doing things they're not supposed to. So just stay in the right lane, and then when you're gonna pass somebody, move over. What time we got? Let's go. Let's take a break. We will come back from break at 7:10. Let's make it 7:10. Nice and easy. All right, we're gonna wait just a minute for one more to come back. Big roll while we're waiting. Julian.
Here.
Giovanni. Caden.
Here.
Gabriel. Lily. Owen.
Here.
Paige. Lexi. Corbin. Zeta. Kamaya. Tara. Wyatt. Serenity. Angelina. Hayden. Cohen. Leland. Leland, did you make it back? Tail. Dakota. We're gonna wait for just one more minute. Leland, did you make it back? All right. So on multiple lane roads, you can drive in the far left lane, but you only want to do that when you're overtaking or passing another vehicle in the same direction, or if you're going to end up turning left. One thing that I like to do, let's go back just to show you. If you're on the freeway and there's 3 lanes here of travel as you're going down, so you don't want to be in the far left lane because that's going to be the passing. Then you have the middle lane and the right. If you're going to be on the freeway for a little while, I would suggest going in the middle lane, because if you're in the far right lane, you're worried about other cars merging on, cars getting off. If you're in this middle lane, you don't have to worry so much about them moving over. You also have 2 outs. So if some emergency or something happened, you have a lane to your left and one to your right. So it can be safer in a lot of situations like that. So if you're on the freeway and it's 3 lanes, I suggest going in the middle. But you can go in the right lane. Only use the left lane if you're passing. Does that make sense? Let's go back. So you must drive your vehicle on the right half of the road, except when you're passing another vehicle going the same direction. So if you're just making a pass, now you must drive to the left or center to pass an obstruction. So if there's a dead animal or something that's in the road. When the road is divided into 3 marked lanes, you don't have to be on the right half, you can be in the middle. When a road's marked for one-way traffic, you want to make sure you're on the right side and you stay the same direction. When on multiple lane roads where certain lanes, left or center, are signal controlled for use during peak traffic hours. So it's called a reversible lane, but this is only up in Seattle. I don't think there's any other around here in this state. It's just a reversible lane, so to control traffic, it's 3 lanes, I believe it is, that you can get into, and it doesn't have anything that exits. You go for a while, and then in the evening, it switches directions and goes the other way. It just helps control traffic. Like I said, Seattle's a big city. There's a lot more traffic, and that's why they do that. But basically, just stay on the left lane unless you're passing or turning left. Rumble strips. Have you guys seen these? Do you know what they are for or why they do that? Go ahead.
Let you know that you're outside the line.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is basically, it will help wake you up if you start nodding off and you start going outside the lines. It is 100% just a warning that, hey, you're getting off the road. If you hit them, it's okay. You just gently turn back towards the lane and get back into traffic. But it's just a reminder. That is 100% all they are for, and they work. So if you're not paying attention, you're distracted, and you run over something that feels like you're going over a bunch of bumps, that's exactly what you're doing, and it's telling you to watch what you're doing because you're about to get off the road. So there is a move over law. This applies for emergency vehicles on the side of the road or a tow truck. If they're on the freeway and someone's broke down and they're trying to load it, but anything where there's like people on the side of the road, it's a lot more dangerous. So there is a law that you have to move over a lane if you're able to. So you want to change lanes, get out of the way if you can. You can't always do it depending on traffic. Someone could be right next to you, so you just kind of slow down and move to the left side of the lane. But this video is going to go over that as well.
It may not seem fast or close to you, but 100 times a day we leave our office and put ourselves only a door away. An average of 2 patrol cars are struck and 1 trooper injured every month. It's Washington law that you slow down or move over when you see emergency lights ahead. We ask that while we're out here getting you and your family home safe every night, you help us get home safe to our families. Slow down and move over.
So it's just a short video on it. It is a law that you have to do that. Like I said, you can't always move over depending on traffic, but you at least need to slow down. They are at a much bigger risk than somebody in a car. If you're going 60, 70 miles an hour on the freeway, if you hit somebody, it's almost certain that they're going to die. It's going to be serious injuries, if nothing else. Also, off of that too, and one thing that leads to this is if you are looking at a car that's pulled over, say the cops got the lights on, when you just stare at it, you're likely to move towards it. And so that's where a lot of this happens as well. So if you get over one whole lane, like they're wanting you to do, if you're looking at it, you're not going to go and directly hit somebody. Does that make sense? Okay. So we're going to watch this video, but let's say these are traffic cones and they're doing construction up here and you're in this lane here. Do you think you should get over as soon as you see that, hey, the lane's ending, so you try to get over while you can and just find a good gap and go? Or should you go down to the end and then just do a zipper merge at the end where you just go in between cars? What do you think is better?
First option.
So you're thinking as soon as you see that, you get over and then just travel down. So that's what most people do. People get upset when someone goes to the end and doesn't wait for their turn per se, but it actually reduces traffic if you go down to the end. That is supposed to be the correct way. This video is going to kind of go over that as well. But it will reduce traffic by 15% if you do it that way. But not everybody does, and people get upset because they had to go and get over, and they feel like the person behind them should have to wait their turn as well. So this will go over that.
Hello, Canada. When you're driving along the highway and you see construction barriers and a merge lane like this, don't merge early. Just keep driving until the lane runs out. No? You'd rather merge early in defiance of science, efficiency, and all human potential? Fine. But first let me show you something. This is one side of a 4-lane highway. But look, there's construction up ahead. What do? If you're the average Canadian, you jam your car into the left lane as soon as humanly possible. You would think this makes sense. Merging early isn't going to make the bottleneck any bigger, so why not get into single file? First, it opens the way for douchebags who want to zip ahead and cut into line. Second, it can gum up traffic further on down the highway. Third, it's unsafe. All this anarchic jamming into one lane causes crashes all the time. Fourth, it's slower. This one is hard to believe, but when you force a bunch of cars to basically come to a stop in one lane, it gets everyone through the bottleneck slower. So what do you do instead? The zipper merge. No early merge. Instead, you stay right the hell in your own lane until the last moment, and then cars take turns entering the bottleneck one for one, like a zipper. It keeps traffic flowing, prevents backups, and cuts down on road rage. In Germany, where people actually know how to drive, it even has its own name. Reißverschlussverfahren. The problem is, it needs cooperation. If people refuse to merge late, or if people try to prevent them from merging, our beautiful zipper merge system all comes tumbling down. So this is one of those things which can only be fixed if everyone gets on board. Mustang driving deadbeat dads, old people in Lincolns, teenagers in beat-up Corollas, everyone, which isn't easy. Remember how hard it was to get Canada on the metric system? But you can do your part. Next time you see construction, just remember one simple word. Reisverschlussverfahren.
So that does reduce traffic if everybody did it. But like you showed in the video there, a lot of people won't want people to merge in front of them, so they speed up and not let them in. But if you just take turns, I mean, you can only do your part. But, you know, if you're doing that, just let one person in, not a bunch, just one at a time, back and forth. Traffic will get better, or it will be better. But that is the correct way. Let's go talk about traffic jams. You know, and why do you think traffic jams happen? Car crashes, yep. I'll definitely create a traffic jam. Yep.
If someone stopped on the highway for like a long enough time.
Yeah, if you stop at all on the highway.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it can cause people to.
Yeah, just basically we don't do the rules. We're not doing what we're supposed to.
Phantom traffic.
Phantom traffic. What do you mean by that?
When somebody slows down and the person behind them slows down and then the person
Yeah,
behind
everybody
them
starts
slows
slowing down because
and
one
then
person did.
It's a slow spot, and then beyond that,
Yep.
it's perfectly fine.
Happens all the time when you go on the freeway, you slow down to 25, 30 for no reason. You get up there and it just speeds back up and you don't see anything or any reason why. So this will be a short video on traffic jams. And just, you know, if everyone does their part, we'll have less traffic jams.
This episode has been brought to you by our super generous supporters on Patreon. Traffic. We all love it. The chance to hunch over a steering wheel and not relax while minutes and hours pass fruitlessly by. So good. Sometimes I just open up my map and look for peak traffic times and hop on that highway for no reason. All joking aside, traffic is the worst. And when the traffic breaks up, sometimes it seems like nothing caused the traffic jam to begin with. Why? Why is this happening? Good Stuff producer Sam Grant answers that question.
When you're stuck in a traffic jam, a lot of things might come to mind. Why is this happening? Is there a crash, a lane closure? Is there a truck full of bananas tipped over, spilling across all lanes? While all of these things do cause traffic jams, they're actually not the major cause of you being late to work. This might be surprising, but the main cause of that frustrating congestion on the highway is, well, you. If we're all machines that had perfect reaction time with perfect reflexes that never got distracted, this wouldn't be the case. But the fact is that human behavior on its own causes a large amount of the traffic jams that you see. This is a relatively new idea though. Physical and mathematical theories of traffic flow have been around since the early 1920s. But up until the 1990s, these models mostly purported major causes or reasons of traffic flow problems were things like the number of lanes reducing, a problematic off-ramp, or a plain and simple accident. Because of this, the solution that most civil engineers presented to solve the problem was to make things bigger. More lanes, less intersections, different types and locations for on and off ramps, etc. This was in part due to a series of complicated equations like this one. It's a really complicated equation. I don't know what it says. Well, I kind of do. Basically what it says is that the more cars that are on the road in a given amount of space, the worse traffic gets. And this is true up until a point. If the density of cars is low enough and the space between vehicles is adequate, it is rare for a spontaneous traffic jam to occur. No matter how much space civil engineers created, however, the problem of traffic jams simply would not go away. Predictions and models could not adequately predict how much space was needed for certain densities of traffic. In fact, traffic jams occurred at much lower traffic densities than these models had predicted. In simple terms, mathematical models did not match up to traffic patterns observed in real time, especially traffic jams where there was no clear obstruction. Recent research, however, has offered an explanation for this discord between theory and real life. These phantom traffic jams that occur seemingly out of nowhere have been coined shockwave traffic jams. In this shockwave scenario, something minor occurs which causes a chain reaction which leads to a backup. But what would happen if there weren't even any minor incidents or distractions for the driver? Would a traffic jam simply appear out of thin air? Thanks to a group of Japanese researchers, we now know the answer to that question is yes. They conducted an experiment in 2008 where 22 cars were equidistantly spaced throughout a 235-meter track. They asked the drivers to start at the same time and accelerate to a speed of 30 kilometers per hour. There were no distractions on the course and traffic flowed really smoothly. For a bit, the distances between the cars started to vary, and soon a cluster of cars started to slow down. This traveled in a wave, causing the cars behind the slowdown to come to almost a complete halt, and congestion flowed backward throughout the loop. So why did that happen? Simply, human error. Drivers in the experiment accelerated differently, kept uneven distance between the cars in front of and behind them, and behaved generally, well, like humans. So essentially the reason a traffic jam occurred in near perfect driving conditions is that we aren't perfect. In terms of real-world scenarios, these types of shockwave jams can occur from as little as a poorly timed lane change, with that incident creating a series of other minor miscalculations that have now made you late to work thanks to all your fellow commuters. While there are certain behaviors drivers can adapt, such as maintaining equal distances between cars and a constant speed, these types of traffic jams will continue no matter how hard city planners might work. Until, of course, driverless cars take over the roads and we won't be able to gum things up with our very imperfect, non-robot brains.
So what do you think? If we were more conscious of our driving habits, could we eliminate some of that sweet, sweet traffic out there? Or are driverless cars the permanent answer? Let us know in the comments. And special thanks to our patrons for making this episode and pretty much everything we do possible.
All right, so I'm gonna ask the guys on Zoom now, since you guys answer a lot in here. Now that you've seen the video, why do you think the traffic happens? You guys can just type it in. Mainly dumb drivers. Yep. Can't keep constant speed perfectly. Yep. So it's human error. You know, we're not able to do it. If everybody like that was in that circle was tailgating and the first person hits their brakes, then everybody behind them has to hit their brakes too. And that's what causes it. You know, it's human error. So how to drive in a traffic jam. So you still want to, even though there's traffic, maintain 4 seconds of following distance. This allows traffic to change lanes, merge without you braking. You'll notice as you do this, though, you'll probably have people that cut you off a little bit more, just because you have room in front of you in the car in front like you should. And all you gotta do is readjust from there. But just make sure you have 4 seconds of following time. Watch out for brake lights. So the red lights on the back of the car, when they hit their brakes, it's gonna flash. It'll turn bright red. If you see brake lights, be ready to slow down and stop. That just means they're on their brakes, they're not on the gas, so they're slowing down. They might hit it really hard, they might not. You're not sure, so that's when you want to just put your foot and cover the brake, and then if you start getting closer, start slowing down as well. So just watch for brake lights. And then don't weave in and out of traffic. It's stressful, higher risk, creates more traffic behind you. Just try to stay in your lane, keep 4 seconds of following time, and then watch for brake lights. So lane choice, drive in the right or center lane unless overtaking other vehicles. Just like I said here, this one's coming to an end. You're going to want to make sure you're in the middle lane if you're not exiting. This left lane here, this truck probably shouldn't be there, especially with how wide open it is. This is the passing lane. Always be looking for signs and hazards. And then you got the HOV lanes. What was that again?
Occupancy vehicle.
Yep, so it just means there are 2 or more people in it. If there is a HOV lane, it's going to be the far left. This dashed line will be a solid line, and that's just telling you that's the lane for the HOV, and you can't go into it unless you have 2 or more people. Avoid tailgating, and this also means if someone's tailgating you, get over a lane, let them by. This a majority of the time is going to happen when you're in the passing lane. If you're in the middle lane, it happens, get over one, let them by. But just let people by, keep space. Don't tailgate yourself because you're leaving 4 seconds of space. Avoid unnecessary lane changes because that's just going to create traffic behind you. People won't know exactly what you're going to do. And then never drive on the shoulder. The only time you can is for an emergency. So shoulder is like, see this lane here? It's got this white line, solid white line. It's over here to the side. It's not an actual lane. It's the right side of this lane. Or if you're on the left, you got the yellow line, the shoulder is going to be right here in between the barrier and the yellow line. If you need to stop or get onto the shoulder, try to do it on the right. So this is a passing lane. This is where cars are going to go faster. So you try to get over to the right and get over as far as you can because these cars are going to be traveling 70 miles an hour. So emergencies is the only time. So now you're on the freeway and you want to get off. So when you want to see your exit, you're going to put your signal on back here and then get over as soon as you can. And then you're not going to start slowing down until you reach this point here. Once you're actually off of the freeway, then you can start slowing down keep your eyes up, look for the traffic control device. Usually it's going to be a stop sign or a stoplight. There could be multiple lanes at the end, so you get to see what lane you need to be in. But if you brake too early, you force others to slow down, and then it starts creating traffic behind you. It could surprise people and not give them enough time or space to slow down, and they could rear end you. But when we're on our drive, just remember, get over as soon as you can. You're going to smog, put your signal on, check your mirror, look over your shoulder, and go. And then you're going to slow down as soon as you get to the point here where you're actually getting off of the freeway. So put your right signal on at least 5 seconds before exiting. Give plenty of time for people to know what you're going to do. Smog in the direction that you're exiting. Up in Seattle, some of the exits do go left. Majority of them are going to be to the right, and so you're going to look over your shoulder to the right. Don't slow down until you are in the exit ramp. So just like the on-ramp, use the entire on-ramp to get up to speed. You're going to use the exit ramp to get down, to slow down, to come to a stop, because it's usually going to stop at the end. Once on the exit ramp, begin to slow down. Watch out for curves. Watch for speed warning signs. Anything that's going to be coming up. The end of most exit ramps are going to be a traffic control device, so be prepared. Keep your eyes up and look and see what lane you need to be in and what you need to do. So there are what's called through lanes. A through lane, so you have an exit only, and then it comes back on to the freeway. So you can exit, or it also has people that merge onto that one to get on. A lot of people up in Tacoma will do this so that they're not waiting in traffic when it's a high traffic time. They'll get off and then get up and use the on-ramp to get ahead in cars, but you're not allowed to do that. If it says exit only, you have to exit. You'll see this sign too. This is in Olympia. Just saying through traffic, use left lanes, or your left 2 lanes. So if you want to continue on, you're going to stay in these left 2 lanes here. The right lane is generally going to go to like an interchange to get on for here. It gets onto 101, Highway 101. But if you want to continue past it, it gives you a big sign, tells you use the left 2 lanes. So you should be in this lane here, unless you're going to be passing someone that's in that lane. But it's letting you know, if you're going through, stay in those lanes. You won't have to merge. It's not going to slow down as much. There'll be less traffic. You'll also see on highways, so here's 101, where it's 2-lane road, single lane in each direction, that they have what's called slow vehicle turnouts. So if you have a line of cars behind you, if you have 5 or more cars behind you, legally, you have to use a turnout and let them by. So all highways will have it at some point. This one doesn't show a picture of it yet. You'll see one a little later, but it's just, it pulls off to the side of the road off the shoulder, makes it nice and wide. You come to a stop, let the cars by, then you signal and you smog to get back in. And then you go just continue your trip. So like I said, if there's a line of vehicles of 5 or more behind you, you legally have to let them by. And here's a sign saying delay of 5 vehicles is illegal. Got to use turnouts. As you go along, you'll just see different signs telling you where they're at ahead of time. So this one's telling you in a quarter mile, there's going to be a slow vehicle turnout. So if you are this RV up here, and you got a line of 4 or 5 cars behind you, in a quarter mile, you're going to be ready to pull over, let them by. You do want to give warnings for it when you're going to do it, because the cars behind you might not know that you're going to use it. So you're going to put your signal on a bit sooner than you normally would, just so they see that you're going to be moving over. So some dangers on the highway. You have highway hypnosis. So this is, if you're going straight for a long time, it gets you really tired, almost like it's going to put you to sleep. This is also a big reason why they have rumble strips, is you get really tired and you kind of start daydreaming, and next thing you know, you're on a rumble strip and you're getting out of the lane. So if this happens, if it gets really bad, go to a rest area, pull over, take the next exit. You need to take a nap. And then we have velocitation, which is just, it's you wanting to keep driving fast after you get off the freeway. So you get used to going a certain speed for a while. You're going to want to keep going that speed, and the speed limit's going to be lower. So it's going to feel like you're going super slow when you're not going that fast. So this is what happens when you remove a freeway from a city.
This is the view from my office window. It's Seattle's Alaskan Way Viaduct. A few months ago, this double-decker freeway carried 90,000 cars over the city's downtown waterfront every day. Now, it carries 0 cars because they're tearing it down and replacing it with a tunnel. But for 3 weeks, we got a glance into what it's like to go without a big downtown freeway.
But could you do that forever? Just get rid of a freeway? To answer that, we're gonna take a road trip through history.
US freeway mania really kicked off during the 1950s when President Eisenhower created the Interstate Highway System. But even he was shocked when he saw construction crews building the Capitol
pause? I gotta let somebody back in. Sorry.
Beltway in DC.
Even he recognized how destructive freeways would be in cities.
Before long, people were using the freeways to drive everywhere. They were crowded, expensive, and bad for the environment. They cut through urban communities and fueled neighborhood segregation. And making them wider wasn't helping congestion. See, roads don't really follow the normal rules of the universe. Take this freeway. It has a traffic problem, and so the seemingly obvious solution would be to widen the road. But that original traffic was also acting as a kind of driving deterrent. New space would give people a reason to get back in their cars. This is a real phenomenon. It's called induced demand, a law of economics since 1962. So more lanes attract more drivers, and soon you wind up with the same traffic you started with. Which brings us to our first stop in our Dead Freeway tour, Portland, Oregon. The freeway carried traffic along Portland's downtown riverfront, and the highway department had plans to expand it.
Some highway engineers have a mentality, engineeringly speaking, that would run an 8-lane freeway through the Taj Mahal.
That's Tom McCall. He was Oregon's Republican governor. He came up with a kind of crazy idea for the time. What if they tore down the freeway and replaced it with a park? And this was the nation's first big freeway removal. Oregon was building 2 interstates in the area, so this downtown freeway just wasn't that necessary anymore. And it didn't end up creating the traffic nightmare that some had predicted. It was basically the 1960s version of this.
Cars, man, why?
Next stop, San Francisco, the 90s. From the beginning, activists fought this freeway, which blocked off the city's iconic waterfront views. There was even this 1955 editorial in the San Francisco Chronicle that roasted Seattle's viaduct as a warning against the proposed freeway. Ugly structure dominates architectural features in its vicinity. Yeah, that's fair. The thing that finally sealed the freeway's fate was the big 1989 earthquake. It damaged the Embarcadero and several other freeways in the area. Suddenly, San Francisco was faced with a choice. If you want to keep the freeway, you'll have to pay to fix it. And that did the trick. In 1991, the Embarcadero freeway came down. In its place, a surface boulevard with big walkable sidewalks. The traffic impacts were pretty minimal. City streets absorbed some traffic, and without the freeway, some traffic just disappeared. The area around the Embarcadero became a waterfront destination. It saw higher property values, more economic activity, and more jobs. Some say the freeway removal added to the Bay Area's rapid gentrification. And while that area was expensive to start, housing prices did go up. For other places, there's a real lesson there. How to remove a freeway and make sure the people who live there can stick around for the benefit. And so here we are, Seattle 2019. Here's a little background. A 2001 earthquake damaged the viaduct. 18 years later, the city's tearing it down and replacing it with a tunnel, but not before the final challenge. Before the new tunnel could open, they had to close the old viaduct for 3 weeks. It was officially called the Period of Maximum Constraint. Also,
Viadume, Carmageddon, there was a few other ones that I probably shouldn't mention.
So best case, people change their habits. Everyone who doesn't have to drive, doesn't drive. Worst case,
unreasonable congestion that nobody would tolerate. It'd take you hours to get into downtown.
So what happened? For the most part, people found other ways to get around.
We had about a 10% decrease in vehicles coming into downtown.
Here's a typical bike count in Seattle during this time of year. And here's what happened during the viaduct closure.
I never would have predicted it because January is generally not just cold but rainy.
Transit ridership spiked too. And the light rail and commuter trains added more than 15,000 new riders. And finally, some of the trips just didn't happen.
And everybody goes, well, what happened to the trips? Well, it's not a finite amount of trips. People have brains and people make choices.
And then the tunnel opened, and things started to go back to normal. But those 3 weeks gave us a small window into how a city might respond to losing a freeway. Now, could Seattle have kept this up? It's hard to say, but history suggests that cities can lose a little freeway and not lose their minds. Thanks for watching. There's a lot of history out there that we didn't get to.
So you can remove a freeway. He was talking about there are some benefits that can happen, and less people are driving on the road using public transportation means less accidents and, less people getting really angry. But it is something that can be done, and that's a little bit of proof. Technology in cars, so here's just a couple examples. So some cars now have the blind spot detectors. So in your mirror, you have this light that comes on and tells you if someone's in your blind spot. And then there's cruise control. You don't want to just rely on these sensors. You still want to check over your shoulder. You still want to smog. Sensors fail. So if you have a sensor that's going to fail and it's not working properly, it might not light up here to say there's a car in your blind spot, and you might just go and someone could be there. It's a great tool to help aid you, but don't just rely on it. Like I said, make sure you check over your shoulder. And then cruise control on the freeway can be helpful for sure. It's going to be keeping the car at the same speed as it goes up and down, which is something that we work on Drive 3 here with you guys. But cruise control, keep it there, but not all, cars nowadays can have adaptive cruise control where if the car in front of you is going slower, it'll actually slow down. A lot of the older cars that have it do not do that, so you have to pay attention and actually touch the brake to turn it off before you run to the back of somebody. You don't want to use it down. It doesn't even work if you're going less than 25 miles an hour. You have to be going over that. But if you're going to be speeding up or slowing down a bunch, it's not worth doing. If you're on the freeway and there's not many people around and you just want to keep constant speed, then you absolutely can use it. Just be aware that you're doing less doesn't mean you have to focus less, if that makes sense. So this will be a little video on using cruise control and just how it works.
Hey everybody, I'm here today to show you how to use cruise control. This will be a very simple driving lesson. As you can see right here, there are simply 5 buttons that control the cruise control. The first 2 buttons that I want to show you are on and off. Now, these buttons serve a very simple purpose. If you push the on button, it will turn the cruise control on. And basically that just turns the whole cruise control system on. It doesn't do anything other than get the system ready to work when you want it to work. That's why the cruise light has illuminated over there. If you push the off button, it will turn the cruise control system off, okay? That's basically those 2 buttons. So none of these other buttons will work unless the cruise control is on, okay? Now that the cruise control's on, we're going to imagine that we're driving at a decent speed. So let's say that we're driving at 70 kilometers an hour. If you want to have the car on cruise control at 70 kilometers an hour, when you are going 70 kilometers an hour and the cruise control is on, you're going to simply press the set button. Now, on this car, you're just going to flick it. And in most cars, you're just going to move it up to sort of an upward position. So I would just go like this. And that would cause the car to maintain the speed that I'm currently driving at. Now, let's say that I'm, once again, going 70 kilometers an hour. Cruise control is on. I've set it on. I can now press or hold this up to increase the cruise control speed. So I would accelerate from 70 kilometers an hour. On the other hand, if I wanted to decelerate, I would press or hold it down. You can also flick it down just like that. So this will increase the speed of the cruise control. This will decrease the speed of the cruise control, plus and minus. It's very simple. Now there are just two other buttons that I want to outline. If you look here, this one stands for resume, and this one stands for cancel. Now let's say that you are going 70 kilometers an hour, you increase it to like 75 kilometers an hour, and you want to turn off cruise control. You would push the cancel button, and it would stop the cruise control at that speed. If you want to resume the cruise control at the most previous speed, you would press the resume button, and that would bring it to the last speed that your cruise control was set at. Now there's one last thing that I want to outline before I finish this video. If you are on cruise control and you want to turn it off or stop it, you simply press the brake. If you touch the brake, what will happen? The cruise control system will still remain on, but the speed that you were cruising at will automatically stop. You will automatically cancel by pressing the brake pedal. It's literally that simple. Using cruise control is actually a really easy thing to do. And I just wanted to give you a very quick tutorial in this video.
All right, so they're all different. That's just one example. But like you say in there, you can, if you touch the brake at all, then it turns it off. You can also hit the cancel button to turn it off. You can hit the off button to turn it off. So as you're going, if you notice you're getting too close to the car in front, you can just tap your brake, shuts it off. If you're not using the off button here, it keeps the system on. So then when you want to go back up to that same speed, you just hit resume. But all the cars are going to be a little bit different. That's just an example of one of them. So when should you use it?
Freeway.
Mostly on the freeway. That's when there's not a lot of traffic going on. You know, you're not doing a lot of stopping or turning. You just want to maintain that speed. When shouldn't you use it?
City suburbs.
Yep. So in the city where it's a lot more going on, a lot more traffic. Anytime that you're going to be slowing down and speeding up, just back and forth. Like I said, it won't work at under 25 miles an hour, so it won't even turn on if you're going under 25. And then, like I said, when it slows down, when you slow down or hit the brakes, it'll turn it off. So this one here, like I said, this is a little different. You're gonna hit this button to turn the system on. The accelerate is the same button as resume. You have a set and a coast. So the coast is when you decelerate to slow it down. So if you're going, you turn the system on, you want to set it at 70, you hit this button here to set it. If you want to go up to 72, 73, you just tap this one until you get up to the speed. If you want to slow down, you tap this one. In this situation here, you can hit this cruise button here and it'll turn off the whole system, or you can touch the brake and it'll turn off cruise control. So some self-reflecting questions while you're driving. So ask yourself, you know, are your actions contributing or hindering the flow of traffic? If you're hindering it, what do you think you should do? Kind of depends on what you're doing though, right? So just reassess what's going on, look for a different way to do it. Just keep traffic flowing, not slow people down and cause traffic. Have I surprised other drivers? If you're surprising other drivers, kind of the same thing. You want to reassess what's going on, what you're doing to surprise them, and just, you might have to change your style or what you have going on. And what should you tell yourself when you notice you are not giving other drivers plenty of space? What should you tell yourself? Slow down, right? You're not giving them space, you want to slow down. If they suddenly hit their brakes pretty hard, you don't want to go into the back of them. Trip planning, we're not going to do this one. I'm not going to ask you guys to plan a trip and see how much it costs and all that. So this is going to be changing lanes. You want to look over 2 lanes when you're changing. You're going to end up watching in this video. Keep an eye on the silver car and the blue car. Oh, it's this blue one up here. Both cars decide that they want to get over. Okay, it's that blue one. I know it's a blue one, sorry. They're both trying to go into the same spot. So luckily they saw each other, right? So one slowed down, one sped up. They're able to do it. So right here. So when you are, say you're the silver car getting over, this car that's recording it, he's probably too close to get over anyways. But if you are going to get over, you have to watch this guy. You have to watch the second lane just in case someone else is going to do this exact thing where you both merge to the same lane. They want to get over one, you do as well. You'll see it when you're out there. A lot of times one car will get over and the next one, as soon as they notice, they'll swerve back to their lane real fast, just so they don't hit each other. But make sure you're aware of that. Just look to your both sides. This one is, I think this was the impatient driver with the truck that passes on the shoulder, I think. Yeah, so lots of traffic, everyone's getting over. And then there should be a guy that comes down here. Find a spot to get over. And then this guy doesn't like traffic. So he just goes, he's driving on the shoulder, which you're not allowed to do. And drives all the way down to get past people. So on that one, like I said, the shoulder's for emergencies. It's not to drive on. He had every opportunity that everyone else did to get over. He more than likely just didn't want to be in traffic and was going around, but don't want to do that, right? This one is an accident caused by a poor decision. I mean, really, it's just road rage from the trucker. So to start with, he probably shouldn't be in this lane. I mean, maybe if he's going to pass this guy, but he doesn't want to let this guy in who's trying to get in front of him. And so he's speeding up, not giving him room. This guy on the right doesn't want to hit either truck. And they end up getting into an accident. So if you're that car and that truck's not giving you room, get back to your lane and just slow down so that this doesn't happen, right? Like I said, this truck probably shouldn't have been in that lane anyways, but because of that, that's what happened. So this is when you're merging on, if you don't get up to speed and you're going too slow, you cause traffic just kind of behind you. So you're getting onto the on-ramp. This is where you want to get up to speed of the freeway over here, but the cars in front are going really slow. So it's going to make it hard to get into this lane here when they're traveling faster. So you have the whole on-ramp. The biggest tip is get up to speed using that entire on-ramp. Match the speed of traffic. Who's this one? I don't remember this one. So there's two cars right in front there, don't want to let the guy on the right over. Because of that, he had to almost come to a stop. So what should have happened is one of those two. Yeah, one of these guys, like probably this guy, should slow down to let him over. And then you wouldn't have to come to almost a stop. You'd still be able to flow of traffic. So when you do come to a stop like that, it makes everybody behind you slow down and stop for no reason. Then here's some videos on bad merges. So make sure you pay attention to this. It's what you don't want to do. You're going super slow. You can see how fast traffic's going over here. You want to match their speed. Going down. Doesn't really need to. This guy probably shouldn't have got in front either. There's not much room. These cars should be going about 60, and then he's going 25. So one of the biggest tips to get on the freeway, match the speed of traffic. It'll make it easier, less issues. And then move over. We'll have to watch the whole thing. Does that make sense? Get on the freeway, make sure you're speeding up. It is a faster speed. A lot of you are getting to the point where you're going to be doing your freeway drive soon. We're going to go over it, but one of the biggest things we're going to tell you is getting on the on-ramp. Don't be afraid to get moving. And then the first time that we do it, it is on a lane that gets an added lane. So you won't have to merge right away. We'll get off, back on a few times, come back around, do it again. But you guys are getting to that point, so it's good to have this class before you do. You have an idea what to expect. Make sure you're smogging anytime you change lanes side to side. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. Go ahead and type here if you're on Zoom, and have a good evening.
Have a good
All right, I see a couple of you still here. Do you have any questions? Anything I can help you with?